Hey guys, Silver81 here. Yeah, I was just going through my normal websites and ran across this article on shtf.com. And normally, I take these articles with a large or small grain of salt, depending upon who writes it and what it's about. But found this one entitled "Pentagon Warning Order: Prepare for War," and it says "by September" with a question mark. But interestingly enough, the person the article's about is Robert Baer, Bob Baer. He's an ex-CIA spook, undercover guy, Mideast, Black Ops, all this really deep stuff. In fact, George Clooney did a movie called Syriana a few years back, and it was based on the life of Robert Baer. He lives here in the LA area, and he's, from what I understand, a pretty no-nonsense guy, and when he says something, you should probably listen to him. He still has a lot of contacts in the Pentagon and a lot of people in the know. Let's put it that way. He's got a lot of inside information. Anyway, let me go ahead and read some of this article. Very interesting. Starting here in the highlighted section. Robert Baer has had a storied career, including a stint in Iraq in the 1990s where he organized opposition to Saddam Hussein. He was recalled after being accused of trying to organize Saddam's assassination. Upon his retirement, he received a top decoration for meritorious service. Baer is no ordinary CIA operative. George Clooney won an Oscar for playing a character based on Baer in the film Syriana. Baer also wrote the book, by the way. He obviously won't name many of his sources in Israel, the United States, and elsewhere, but the few he has named are all Israeli security figures who have publicly warned that Netanyahu and Defense Minister Ehud Barak are hell-bent on war. Baer appeared on KPFK Los Angeles, warning that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is likely to ignite a war with Iran in the very near future. It gets worse. Masters asked Baer why the U.S. military is not mobilizing to stop this war from happening. Baer responded that the military is opposed, as is former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, who used his influence to thwart an Israeli attack during the Bush and Obama administrations. But he's gone now, and there is a warning order inside the Pentagon to prepare for war. The punchline: there is almost near certainty that Netanyahu is planning an attack on Iran, and it will probably be in September before the vote on a Palestinian state. And he's also hoping to draw the United States into the conflict, Baer explained. While President Obama has not exactly been fully supportive of Israel, at least overtly, an attack on Iran by the Israelis would no doubt be considered by Iran as having been supported by the United States. That being the case, Iran would respond militarily against all U.S. forces in the region, especially those in Iraq. At the first sign of any trouble, subsequently, the U.S. would return fire en masse, perhaps even utilizing the nuclear option to incapacitate any possibility of an Iranian nuclear response. What China would do is the unknown variable, but it is clear that the U.S. and China are engaged in a covert war economically, financially, and in cyberspace. The recent UN actions in Libya may have been sold to the world public as a peacekeeping mission, but one side issue that has remained in the background is China's removal of some 30,000 workers from state-sponsored oil facilities in the country as a result of the conflict. This leaves one to wonder whether the UN action was a veiled attempt at controlling the oil interests in North Africa. How long before the Chinese decide that their interests have been violated and they get involved militarily? Could an attack on Iran be the catalyst that brings China into the mix? It is our opinion that what we have seen in the Middle East since 2002, including the destabilization of governments in the region over the last 12 months, is a precursor to a war that will eventually encompass the entire world. Whether this goes critical in September or at some time in the future is of no matter. War is coming to the world as it always does when economies of empires collapse and national interests over resources collide. So, there it is. Very interesting article. Like I said, this guy Bob Baer, he's a pretty stand-up guy, and if he's saying he has sources inside the Pentagon that are saying that Netanyahu and Ehud Barak are hell-bent on war before the Palestinian vote in September, it makes me wonder. It makes me a little nervous too. So anyway, something to think about. Maybe start preparing as best we all can. But if you want to check it out yourself, I'll leave a link down below. I just thought it was an interesting article, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care now. Bye-bye.